Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited that you're here today because we've got some truly game-changing updates to talk about when it comes to Social Security, SSI, SSDI payments, and all the important changes coming down the pipeline as we head into 2025. If you're someone who relies on Social Security benefits or if you have family members who do, trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this video. Why? Because the $1,190 checks are just the beginning of some massive updates that could really affect your financial future. Now, you've probably already heard about Biden's plan to reform Social Security, but what you may not know is that 2025 is shaping up to be one of the most important years in recent memory for those who depend on these checks. In fact, we're about to dive deep into Biden's last step when it comes to Social Security and why this could mean a lot more money in your pockets. Let's start with the basics. What's all the buzz about $1,190 checks? For millions of people on SSI, Supplemental Security Income, and SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, this is the amount many are expecting to receive per month starting in 2025. Now, if you're on SSI, you know the monthly amount has been far less than that for many years. In 2024, the average SSI check is around $914 per month. But because of the inflation adjustments and the fact that the cost of living has increased significantly over the years, the Social Security Administration, SSA, is gearing up to increase these payments. By 2025, recipients could see their payments rise to $1,190 per month, and that's not just for a few individuals. That's for millions of people across the nation who rely on these benefits to make ends meet. And while $1,190 may seem like a small increase to some, it's actually a significant bump in a world where everything seems to be getting more expensive every day. Now, you might be wondering, why is this the last step for Biden when it comes to Social Security? To understand that, we need to take a look at what's been happening behind the scenes. For years, Social Security has been facing a funding shortfall. The trust funds that support Social Security programs are projected to run out of money in the coming decades, and without additional funding or reform, there could be cuts to the benefits that so many people rely on. This has been a major concern, particularly as the baby boomer generation continues to retire and the number of people drawing benefits rises. It's no secret that Social Security has been a point of contention in Washington for years, with lawmakers constantly debating how to keep the system afloat. Biden's plan, which is now nearing the final stages, is a way to address this issue by making sure Social Security remains solvent for the long term. But here's the real kicker: this isn't just about throwing more money into the system. It's about making sure Social Security can continue to function smoothly, ensuring that there's enough funding to cover payments to everyone who qualifies, whether you're on SSI, SSDI, or just receiving regular Social Security retirement benefits. The core of Biden's plan is to increase the funding for the Social Security system by raising taxes on high earners, as well as increasing the payroll tax cap. Essentially, this means that higher income individuals will pay a little more into the system, ensuring that there's enough funding for everyone else. And with more money in the system, the SSA can increase the checks for those who rely on these benefits. This $1,190 check is part of that plan. But it's not just about a single increase. These checks are meant to continue rising in the future, as long as inflation and the cost of living continue to climb. The SSA is working hard to ensure that Social Security payments remain consistent with real-world expenses, so you won't find yourself falling behind as prices go up. In other words, the $1,190 check is just the starting point. And for a lot of people, especially those who are living on a fixed income, that extra money will go a long way in covering the rising costs of healthcare, housing, groceries, and more. As we look toward 2025, there are even more changes on the horizon. One thing we're seeing is that more people may become eligible for benefits, particularly as the government rolls out new guidelines and makes it easier for people with disabilities to qualify for SSDI. If you've been struggling to get approved for Social Security disability benefits, you might soon have a better chance of receiving those payments. And for those who are already on SSI or SSDI, the government has promised to ease some of the restrictions and make it more accessible for people to receive the help they need without unnecessary bureaucracy or red tape. Now, I know a lot of you are probably asking, what happens after 2025? Is this just a temporary bump, or is this a permanent change? And that's a great question. The good news is that, as it stands, the changes being implemented in 2025 aren't just temporary. The reforms Biden has introduced aim to ensure that Social Security remains strong for generations to come. However, this will require ongoing adjustments to the system, especially in terms of funding, which is why the new tax reforms are so important. The $1,190 check isn't just a one-time boost, it's part of a long-term strategy to maintain the purchasing power of people on SSI and SSDI. As inflation continues to rise, the SSA is committed to adjusting benefits accordingly to help recipients keep up with the changing economy. But let's be clear, there's still a lot of work to be done. We're talking about reforming a system that's been in place for decades, and that kind of change doesn't happen overnight. But this is the last step for Biden in terms of the Social Security reform process. With these changes, we could see the final piece fall into place, helping to secure Social Security for years to come. After 2025, there's a hope that we'll see fewer cuts, more stability, and more financial security for those who rely on these benefits. For some of you, this $1,190 check will be a game changer, allowing you to cover bills that have been piling up or maybe even put a little bit away for the future. For others, it might just be a sigh of relief, knowing that the government is making sure your monthly check keeps pace with inflation and rising costs. Either way, these changes are a step in the right direction, especially when we consider the long-term implications of the Social Security funding issue. But it's not all about the money. Social Security is about security. It's about making sure that those who cannot work, whether due to age, disability, or illness, are taken care of. And as we move into 2025 and beyond, we need to remember that these benefits are not just financial, they're a lifeline for many. For retirees who no longer have a paycheck, for people with disabilities who can't hold a job, and for families who rely on these payments to stay afloat, Social Security is the bedrock of their financial well-being. So, the changes happening now aren't just about a larger check, they're about protecting the future of millions of Americans who depend on this system every day. Looking ahead, it's important to stay informed and stay connected with the latest updates from the Social Security Administration. The changes coming in 2025 are just the tip of the iceberg, and there will likely be even more developments that we need to keep an eye on. Whether it's further increases to your monthly payments or new initiatives to make the process of receiving benefits more efficient, this is just the beginning of a much-needed transformation to the Social Security system. So, if you're on SSI, SSDI, or just generally rely on Social Security benefits, this is a pivotal moment for you. The $1,190 checks are more than just a number, they represent a major step forward in the effort to preserve and strengthen the Social Security system. And while there's still a lot of work to be done, these changes give us a lot of hope for the future. I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the upcoming changes to Social Security? Are you looking forward to that extra $1,190 in your bank account? Or do you have concerns about the future of Social Security? Let me know in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, share it with anyone who needs to know about these changes, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more updates like this. We've got a lot of important content coming your way, so you definitely don't want to miss out. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.